All right.
All right, we've got one more, it looks like.
Do we?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's do it.
Absolutely. I didn't insinuate that you were absolutely.
Hold on. I had to
I didn't
restart.
insinuate that you were bad representations of skepticism. I just said the position that you cling to is morally corrupt. I didn't say you were morally corrupt.
Well, so at this point, I really do recommend, this is the Chad clip, again, links in the description. Chad, up until this point, had given us a really good conversation. It was an interesting claim. It was not a good claim, but as we were talking, we were listening, responding to each other, giving criticism of the argument. And not only that, but this caller was taking the extra step that we try to take, and that is affirming throughout the conversation to the other side that they are heard. That you're responding back in a different way, repeating what the other person said to make sure that you got it right.
Right.
Those are all incredibly powerful tools to use in these kinds of conversations. So it sounds like we're trying to get away from the definition of skepticism here. You're using it, you're attacking
we're in
it.
a completely different area now.
And we just wanted to stop to provide that affirmation, and I'm glad that we did. Thank you. Chad, you had made a claim that there are values in skepticism that you disagree with or that you think are wrong. Can you name one of those values? You tried, you said that at this point now, I'm going to try my best to recap the conversation so it doesn't keep going in circles.
Right.
It was emphasis on well-being. And while I think that's fantastic, that's actually not part of skepticism. So I think you may need to revise your definition of skepticism to not include an emphasis on well-being. Then when I asked again, and I'm trying to recap because I'm actively listening to you, Chad. Then when I asked again, you started talking about how skeptics dismiss theists because they don't like them. And that's when we stopped to affirm to you that we think we could probably like you just fine. And we agreed that we're just going to talk to each other. And so I feel like we still haven't addressed what your problem is in skepticism that is in skepticism. So bringing it back around, could you please, do you want to take that back and not say values? Maybe you want to talk about ethics or morals? So would you say that skepticism? Okay.
I absolutely believe it's a value.
Okay, so at this point he's breaking up, but we're trying our best to continue and hopefully understanding what he's saying. Will you agree that saying that skepticism has any kind of values like that is not true? I could have said that so much better, but just in the heat of the moment, during live.
Believe me, I know. I tried to put closed captions on these and do subtitles. It's a nightmare because nothing makes sense as a sentence.
No.
Everything is half of a sentence that is built off of by something someone else said 5 minutes ago. It's this is very confusing.
It's miserable, and it is not a representation of the way I would want somebody to think about the way I discuss things, but we're stuck with what we have. We're just glad that we have an audience that understands and is willing to put up with it. Well,
it's actually a very intense and intentional rhetoric technique that a lot of people, like politicians and motivational speakers, will engage. There is the TED Talk speech voice and way of communicating, but no one talks like that in their day-to-day. And so even if you are communicating ideas that are not, what did you have for lunch, and they have wider implications, communicating it in the way of everyday speak is one of the reasons why, unfortunately, Trump was so effective at rallying people up, because it is actually beneficial to have imperfect speech while you're engaging with people, because it makes you more relatable.
Fair. That's a good point. And then we can move. It just sucks when you could say things better. To talking about ethical implications.
No, it's brutally.
Okay, so how is it? So how is it true?
Traditional family values.
Okay, where in skepticism does it talk about traditional family values, Chad?
there's many. I said many skeptics tend to dismiss traditional values because they deem to be homophobic, like same-sex marriage, for instance.
While I totally get that that's a conversation you had, I don't think that blaming skepticism for it is going to get you anywhere.
Right. You would probably object if I were to say, oh, theists are awful because of this random group of theists that said a thing once, so theism is wrong, right? We're confusing the map for the plays. We're saying a couple people are saying a thing that you disagree with, and whether or not we agree with that is off the table for now, because that's a different conversation. You're saying that because a couple people, or even a lot of people in a group think a thing, then the method, like the entire worldview is fundamentally flawed, and that's not useful. That's not how we do things.
Yeah, and for people who are watching, that's the fallacy of composition. The fallacy of composition is the assumption that what is true of a small portion of a thing is true for the whole.
But still, it goes into my main point.
Okay.
You haven't acknowledged.
I'm sorry, Chad?
You haven't acknowledged my main point.
So I'm trying to understand what you mean by skepticism, because if we can't even understand you on skepticism, I think your main point is going to be lost on us and everybody watching. And so I'm trying to help you get there so we can have this conversation. So what is skepticism?
Atheist. Skepticism.
Okay.
They're the exact same thing.
No.
They're the exact same thing.
There are plenty of Christian skeptics.
And there are plenty of non-skeptical atheists, let me tell you.
Trust me, I wish it was that easy.
How can you be a skeptic if you don't? How can you be a skeptic if you believe in the supernatural?
So you got to ask them.
Answer that question.
No, so Chad, here's the thing. I think that what I would be doing is, I think you're asking me to paint a straw man. I've interacted with them, but I think that for me to try and represent their opinions to you would not be very charitable to them. So I would suggest that you interact with some of those people, but we're not them. We can tell you, though, that there are non-skeptical atheists, and we can also tell you that there are skeptic Christians. Because they tell us that.
That's not a valid
is this
claim.
where it happens?
That's
not a valid claim?
In the goddamn country anymore.
Okay.
The rapid increase of homosexuality.
Chad, if you want to talk about the downfall of ethics or morality the way you view it,
society, the downfall of this goddamn country that my daddy fought in fucking Vietnam for, motherfucker.
Hey, what was that for?
Well, you're mocking our traditional Western society that this country is built on.
Oh, honey, Chad, we're mocking you, buddy. We're not mocking anything else.
Yeah,
you're just kind of funny.
Yeah, if you go back and listen, if you go back and listen to this,
pedophilia.
Oh, it's the same dude. It's the dude from last time.
Got it.
Brian, hello. I got past your call screener twice.
Okay.
Get better call screener.
Are you running away again? Pause. Did you run away again? You're still on the line. We didn't rush to hang up on you, but it shows you're still on the line. So that means that you must not know what to say.
Oh,
now you dropped. Even when it turned out you lied to us, we gave you the stage, and you didn't know what to do with it. That's sad. I hope that you can work on these thoughts, these concepts, so that you can have these conversations with us and with others without chickening out and trying to blow shit up on your way out. We're not going to rush to.
Yeah. So first of all, don't knock our call screeners. They're awesome. And no, that's a no-go. We will come for you. But also, the way you dealt with that was so just, it was funny.
Aww.
It was.
Here, let me get rid of this video.
No, do it again, Fee. Yeah, it was perfectly done, and I know that you've dealt with that particular troll the same way. before as well.
Well, I mean, I'm torn. You know, at that point, number one, if you're going to be trolling, you don't deserve respect. You just don't. That's just it's a waste of everybody's time. But at the same time, this person had given us a good conversation, something that had enough meat that we could bite into and have a conversation that would be useful for viewers of the show.
Yeah.
And that they just decided to go Baba Booey, you know, at the last minute is just I'm dumbstruck.
It's a choice. It was a decision that Chad / Brian / Giovanni / made. But yeah, it's part of the gig is dealing with trolls. And if we can get something good out of it, and I think that this call weirdly was really good up until the last bit.
It was.
Then hey, we're gonna take it.
Yeah.